friends. So today, well, I actually was running through a few topics, but it's sort of it's funny to me because you still hear so much about body positivity. And it's funny how something that seems mostly positive and mostly good or mostly helpful can sometimes feel not so helpful. Like it can also have a negative side. I mean, I guess that's a balance of life, like the the good and the not so good. But for years, I tried very, very hard to have body positivity. Hi, kitty. Um, and like I didn't really understand like why it wasn't working. It was like, well, you're supposed to just tell yourself you love yourself and that you love your body, and then you will. Um, but after many, 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 many years of being surrounded by, what I refer to as like diet culture and, being in like in the era of people figuring out more that like what has to do, or like your state of mind about your body is actually more about your brain than it is about like your daily actions. Because I always found with body positivity, they're like, well, do things in your day that so you act like you love yourself. And it's like, well, I do love myself, but choosing something specific over something else never it made me feel proud, but like proud because somebody else would be proud of me. It wasn't like pride in myself, which I feel like also goes against the whole body positivity. So fast forward into many years down the line into my journey of discovering things in my brain, and I feel like body positivity doesn't resonate anymore because, and this is going to sound silly, but your body doesn't matter. Yes, it is your vessel through this life. It is what enables you to have a brain, have a beating heart, you know, um, outwardly take action, show love to the people that you love, do things that you enjoy, learn new things. Um, but how I feel about this body has absolutely nothing to do with how good of a life I can have. And that was sort of a revelation in a sense for me, because there are things absolutely that I would like to change about my body that are physical appearance things, or things that are of about my own, comfort level in my body. But just because, and even if I have, a really bad like mental day about it, just because I have a body that I don't love every inch of, which is an honest statement, doesn't mean that I shouldn't have fun, or that I shouldn't laugh, or that I shouldn't enjoy things in my life. I'm also not of the mindset of restriction. That's also something about like diet culture that I was like, you guys are nuts. You need food to survive. But then I'd have food guilt. So that was also a wild thing. If you guys want me to get into my food journey, we'll call it, let me know in the comments and I can do a video about that. Because it's been a wild time, let me tell you. But also, food guilt doesn't exist for me anymore. I think just coming to this place of realizing that like I have a body, that's a fact, and my body is what I use to experience life, but my body isn't a punishment. or the way my body is isn't a punishment. Um, like obviously I believe in science and I believe in change and all these things, but coming to a neutral place about my body, and yes, like I said, I still have days where I'm like, good, like my body is making me nuts, but that's incredibly human. Even as someone who has worked so hard to get to a neutral place about my body and a neutral place about food, it's there's still days, but it's also given me the space in my life to be able to just enjoy it. And yes, like I said, I still have insecurities, probably daily. There's moments, but I now have the ability to catch it and be like, is it true? I can question the thought. I can have awareness of the thought. So I don't think, although there's positivity in the name, body positivity is the right space for me either, because I just don't think it has anything to do with my body. I don't think my life, I don't think my purpose, I don't think my goals in life, even if I have body composition goals, that's completely different. But that body positivity mind space, I don't think is for me anymore. And I think that if your gut is telling you, I should say this, if your outside world is telling you things like body positive and change your mindset and all these things that I've literally heard for a decade or more, and they don't sit right, it it's okay to dig into why it doesn't sit right. And there can be some things that you absolutely, positively like identify with, but you don't have to enjoy every single bit of something to adopt the parts that you do like. So if telling yourself that you're beautiful is something that helps you, and that's something very body positive, go with it. But if something like, for me, choosing something specific to eat, if you're doing it to have the other people be proud of you, the other people around you be proud of you, that's not a inward journey. That's still looking for outside validation. And I think a lot of getting to a neutral place with your body where you're just living your life in your body is not to do with anybody else. And that's hard because as humans, we are animals of comparison. So I think like it takes a lot of work, yes. But if you're struggling with your body composition, and I say composition because weight is mass, and my mass on my height, my frame, my body is going to look completely different on someone else's body. So I don't ever say weight anymore. Sometimes changing the words makes a big difference. So if you're struggling with your body composition, start to maybe try to get to a neutral place with it. I started with, I have a body. It is a fact that cannot be refuted. You cannot. You do have a body. You do, in fact, exist on this earth in a body. So adopt that until you believe it. Tell yourself, if you're having a moment where, your self-talk is really spiraling out, telling yourself that I have a body and that's the only thing that matters about my body, is that I have this body, that can sometimes stop that spiral. And the more and more that you practice telling yourself that you have a body, the more and more you become neutral about that fact about yourself. So maybe that's like a little challenge. If you are struggling with your body, try to make yourself believe that it's just another fact about you. You know, the same as you, if you're kind, if you're funny, if you're good at math, which I'm not, but my sister got the math genes. Um, but if you're struggling, try that. And it feels silly, but it's also a step to becoming aware of your thoughts. Because if you become aware of the fact that you are being crappy to yourself, then you can learn what's fact, what's not, what stories that you like about yourself that you want to keep thinking, and what stories about yourself that you can let go of. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. The cat's about to walk in front of the camera, probably. I hope that there he is. Hi, Katie. I hope that something in here helps and that you have, uh-oh, that you have a beautiful day and that you're having a great summer and that you can find some peace.